All right, today I'm mapping your move to Houston, Texas. We're talking about probably the most up and coming area of all of Houston, JoJo.
That's right.
Man, the northwest section of Houston
Far
is
northwest.
blowing up, and there is more going on there than probably anywhere in Houston. And I'm talking more than Cypress, more than Katy. This place is erupting.
It feels like the big hype.
It does, and when you go out there, you notice why. So what we're doing is we're going to be talking about Magnolia today, maybe even touch a little bit Montgomery, kind of sandwiches together, but Magnolia mainly. And there is a section up there where you're finding some of the top acreage communities, some of the newest, best master plan communities. And you can also find, little pocket micro half acre communities as well. So it's got a lot going on. We've spent a lot of time doing videos there, and it is definitely the hottest area. So with that being said, JoJo,
What
Magnolia.
you got, Jackson? I mean, this is amazing. We get to come on here every week and connect with so many viewers out there.
That's right. So if you're new to this, this is called Mapping Your Move to Houston, Texas. So what we do is every Saturday morning at 8 a.m., we release our big vlog. We go out to the communities. We show you what it's actually like to live out there. We are the original Living in Houston, Texas team. This is something we've been doing for almost 5 years now,
Can
JoJo.
you believe 5 years?
I moved here almost 5 years ago, and there was none of this stuff. So I had to try and figure it out myself. We developed the team, and now the best thing, because we talk to you guys and hundreds of clients, they say, guys, we love the maps. The maps feel like we're actually walking the streets, like we actually know what we're doing. So we do this new Wednesday shows at 5 p.m. Central where we break down the map, and then we're looking at your comments. We're going to do some of your guys' questions and stuff as well. So
We get to slow down a little bit besides walking through the houses and being out in the field.
the houses, because at the end of the day, it's about where you're living before the house you're living in. So JoJo, let's get right into maybe the map, kind of just show them where Magnolia is, what's going on out there.
Absolutely, Jackson. So I had it up on one of the subdivisions we were just in, which was Colton.
Yeah.
However, let's just pull up Magnolia, Texas to give some insight, because when you're on the maps, it kind of encircles it, but it doesn't encompass everything, okay?
What was Magnolia like 10, 15 years ago?
So I think 10 years is a perfect time point. It was just the rural area out there, and the only thing you really had was the Renaissance to go out to Magnolia or just have, just take a trip, or locals live there. But now with these master plan communities, it's completely transformed the area, and there's just a lot of hype, and people love it for specific reasons.
So back in the day, it was more like just kind of out there, and it was rural.
Yes, it was. I remember even 20 years ago, me and my wife had went out to the Renaissance, and I mean, it was nothing, you know. So it's completely transformed to what it is today.
It is, and
where it's going.
And when you drive out there, man, you get all the feels. It is gorgeous out that way.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yep.
It's still the tall trees. I know we've talked about that in Kingwood, down to the Woodlands, down to Conroe, to Willis. This is still a continuation of those trees.
Yep.
And greenery.
There we go. There's the map. Why don't you pop out just a touch and give them a little reference point?
So right here, let me zoom out again. So Jackson, we love that downtown Houston, right?
Yep.
So here we are. Houston is downtown at the very center. A lot of times what we would do is we would go up 290 to, say, Beltway to 249. If you're already out in this direction, you're going to go down the 99 up to the 249. 249 was generally what I associated 249 was off of the Beltway 8, which is down here in Willowbrook Mall area in 1960. I used to live out there, Jackson. When I first was single, bought my first house, that was my area. That was my jam.
That was it.
And
the Beltway was fresh and new.
249 is not what it is today.
Yeah.
And so going all the way up, it's turned into a toll.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really given that massive appeal. People love being out in the country. Not only that, I mean, you have master plan communities. They're not just countries, right?
Yep.
But the infrastructure out there now is massive, massive growth. Obviously, Autobahn has kicked off one of the nice premier master plan communities. We've jumped into Kresston out there, and then as of recent, we went to Colton, which is one of the newest ones.
Right.
And then we've done the acreage, like High Meadow Estates. And as of recent, we'll just clump together Plantersville, right above the 99. I mean the 105, which was the Cedars.
That's right. And we got acreage, we got master plan, and it's really kind of localized in one area, but there is quite a bit going on in Magnolia.
So what's nice about it is that you have your infrastructure, and that, I believe that's what makes living nice. And when people are considering relocating, they want to bring their family. Some of them are retired. Some, they're coming all together in different households. Whatever it is, they want to know, hey, am I close to a grocery store, but I don't want to be in all the hustle and bustle. And I think this is slowing it down from a Cypress, from a hustle and bustle Katy lifestyle, where it's just schools and back roads and all these things,
What has been, with all the clients you've had, what is kind of their first impression when you take them out to that area?
I believe it's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And
not like too rural.
It's not too rural, and they really like that. However, there's some people feel it's a little too far out.
Yeah.
You're further out there, you're in a different county, you're not in Harris. So, a lot of, let's just put it this way, political wise, a lot of people find themselves wanting to be more secluded in certain ways without getting too details into it. Mm-hmm. I've had a client right here where you see HEB Jackson.
Yep.
It's also a back hub. I mean, it is a distance, but you're only 30 minutes to the Woodlands.
Yeah.
35 to the Woodlands Mall, probably 20 minutes to the very tip of it.
Yeah.
And so that's cool because, we're in Kingwood and we drive to the Woodlands to take the kids and do things, go to the mall, and it's still about 45 minutes.
How do you get to the Woodlands from where you're at right there?
Well, there's several different ways. So, for example, if you're right here at the HEB,
got to have the heat, baby.
yeah. So if you're at the HEB, you're just going to take. That's what's beautiful. And I know you asked that question because you don't have to hop on a freeway, right?
Right.
And so let's just put the Woodlands Mall, for example. You would just go straight shot right over here. That's why I wanted to highlight that.
So it's like a back way in.
You're going down 1488, my friend.
So it's going to be a lot less traffic.
Yes.
Because now you're kind of cutting that rural.
Yeah, so you're just out there chilling on the roads. You're not on the 99. You're not on 45. You don't know when there's going to be an accident and just traffic galore.
Yep. Exactly. So that's to the Woodlands, but Magnolia itself, pretty self-sustained with, it's got, the HEBs. It actually has a little downtown area
This whole
as well.
center, it has the original downtown. Right. You're going to have your feed stores out there. You're going to have some really nice stuff to do on the weekends.
Got to have the co-op, baby.
Your little farmers markets. Yes. However, this new area right here with the HEB area, it's got the car wash, it's got restaurants, it's got everything. As a matter of fact, I just helped a client relocate from out of state who is building a Chick-fil-A out there. So that is going on in the area too. So not only is there growth, and we get to know personally about it, because clients are actually bringing their businesses in.
Bringing the business to Magnolia. All right, pop back out. Let's kind of give them a rundown of where a few of these different communities are. Is there different sides of Magnolia? Okay,
so here's the original Magnolia that's highlighted here.
Yep.
And then here's 249, so that's your good reference point.
And what does that go to, 249?
249 is a great question. It's also known as the Aggie Expressway.
Yeah.
And so it goes to College Station,
Gotcha.
Which is what it's called. However, why is it College Station? Because Texas A&M is out there, university.
Aggies, baby.
Yes.
Yep. A lot of Aggie fans, A&M, and it's not a far drive.
It's not at all. I've had clients that moved to Cypress by 99,
yep.
and they commuted to Texas A&M because they were professors out there.
Yep, close enough. Isn't that like that Santa's Wonderland right out there too?
That's right, Santa's Wonderland.
Dude, that thing is impressive.
So really cool. And
go ahead.
Well, so what leads into here, Jackson, what's really cool and about knowing is that these roads are expanding out here. And when you know that they're pouring money into roads, that means there's growth and projected future growth.
Yep.
They're growing at a massive rate, but not an overcrowding rate.
Gotcha.
The school system is amazing as far as what they're pouring into it. Mm-hmm. They've just approved, I believe it was a $226 million bond, and that's not going to raise property taxes.
For the schools?
For the schools. They're going to have a new high school out there. They're constantly projecting. I can't even show it because they're putting in new elementaries, new intermediate schools.
Yep.
So a lot they're pouring in. They're pouring in the new buses and all kinds of infrastructure for the community.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, you go out there in those master plan communities, they're not little babies. They're not little one-offs. Sometimes you find those ones, it's a few homes here. I mean, going into Colton, going into Kresston, it is it's like a lifestyle. It's a feeling. You're
Yeah.
like, holy moly, this is crazy. And it's just kind of out there in the
You
trees.
have to go out there and take a look at it. I mean, 249 is such a clean road. It's
Yep.
just maybe it's because it's new. I don't know. You know, when we go out there, is it nice just seeing to the left or to the right all the tall pines and everything too?
And like minimal cars.
Yeah, minimal cars. Don't know what that's going to look like in the future,
Yep.
but for now, I mean, hey, I think you got a good 10-year run for sure.
So on the map there, now you did 249, the major like north-south road that has all of those communities, the acreage communities, Kresston. Why don't you break that down as well? Just
Yeah,
to the,
so right over here is Kresston, as you can see. And a lot of it, you're not going to even really get an idea of how that is because, I mean, it's so new as far as the roads. They're actually building in a new entrance directly onto the 249 from Kresston.
And then it's 1486 is the major road to the east of that, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And that's going to be if you drive down that, it's over to the right of you.
Oh, to the right.
To right.
Yes.
That up and yes. So that is what you're going to drive up and down, and there's going to be community after community. And there's actually a couple other new ones going in there that haven't even really announced yet, but you see them kind of breaking ground.
Yes. So right here, this 1480. What does this says? 1486 here, Jackson.
You got your
with the
spectacles on
glasses,
now.
I can't even see it, but that's why I was looking my directional here.
Yep, 1486.
So right up here, you have Kresston. You have several communities. You have Blue Jack National. I mean, you took a tour out there. It's amazing, isn't it?
Private golf course.
Yes,
Yep.
private golf course, top-notch, multi-million-dollar homes out there. It's very exclusive. But this is where you have the famous, the Meadows.
Yeah, High Meadows.
High Meadows Estates and the original.
And then there's like a Crown Ranch is kind of an OG acreage.
Crown Ranch is OG out there as well. Very nice acreage. And what we talk about OG, it's just acreage community.
Yep.
And we've shot a few homes. That's where you put the drone straight through the double
house,
doors.
Maybe. Yep. We do what we got to do for these people. So as you can see, I mean that's only a couple miles from 249 up and down that you have all of those communities.
So let's dive into Kresston. Major master plan community surrounded by basically, I'm going to call it a forest. It is just tall trees and pines and everything, but it keeps that nature-esque feel to it. And we went to the grand opening. We announced it with High Meadow Estates, new section.
Yep.
And I went out there for the grand opening. I met so many people from out of state that were there just because of what they saw on the channel.
Where is that one in relationship to where we're at?
Well, that's right over here.
Spectacle time.
Yes, right here. This little area, see Highland Homes.
Yep.
They have all the major ones. They had Highland Homes, Weston Homes, all the major ones that everybody's familiar with. We've actually have clients that have even contracted with Perry Homes, different builders as of now,
Right.
and so forth. So, I mean, that's why we're really looking forward to the release of, when we did Colton, because it's almost a continuation, different in its aspect, but it's still out there and it's another master plan.
Yep. I thought Colton, you guys just watched that video. It was
I like the custom builders that they're having out
impressive,
there, and
yeah.
then just the architectural, like you have the Spanish style flair that you were out in front of with Highland Homes.
that, and I think just like driving into both of them, it's like instead of seeing it off of the highway or the freeway, and you see this, you just see houses and rooftops everywhere. That's kind of typical on some of the ones, especially in Katy. Like you can be driving through Katy and you're like 6 miles that way, like there's that subdivision. You can see it. When you're up there, Magnolia, you're up in the northwest area and you're driving up 1486. I mean, it's just trees. And then you turn left at these big, just amazing signs. And then you wind kind of through the trees and stuff. So it just has this real surreal feeling to it.
It does. And when we first went out there and we did Autobahn,
Right.
they're at that elementary school, the 2-story massive one that just went in.
Yep.
That was so new to us out there, and then there wasn't even Kresston a thought of it in our eyes because it didn't exist. Colton didn't exist, and then that grew so much that they brought it over to the other side of 249. So it's exciting that we have a lot of choices for the area.
Yeah, one of our really popular videos too was the what was it, Deer Meadows, or I think it was the 100-foot wide.
That is correct. So. We're right here in Magnolia, and that was Timber Hollow.
Timber Hollow, that's right.
So if you look at Magnolia, it has 2 high schools right now. Okay, so right here, Magnolia West.
Yep.
And that's going to be the side where you're going to see Timber Hollow. See that Timber Hollow right here?
Oh, yeah.
And what was cool was when we were out here this past week, we were right up here in Colton.
Yep.
So that kind of gives you a little insight where that's at. This is more on the original side. And
I thought we were way farther out there when we were in Colton.
It feels like it, doesn't
yeah,
it?
It's like we were in the middle of nowhere, and then we drove that road south. You had to get some barbecue.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Guys, we talked about it a few weeks ago, but we went to the meeting place. I had to show Jackson what's up on the ribs, the brisket.
He's like, man, I just need a couple minutes. So I'm like, are we driving farther away now? Nope, we were going kind of straight down south and then back
it's
over.
It's right there by the high school.
Yep, it's right by the high school.
Yeah.
The meeting place,
The meeting place. It was so good.
Good barbecue right there. But yes, just that is more of it was 100-foot wide lots, and it had the shops. So, guys, as you can tell, there's so much opportunity up in Magnolia. But I guess that leads to the next question then, affordability. We were sitting there in that house, Frederick Harris, and we're talking with the rep. We've done, deals with her. She goes, guys, like this, the home that's over in Bridgeland is $1.92 million. And here, it's at $1,015,000 starting base price.
Correct.
I mean, it's $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 savings. Now you go into, let's just talk about Perry, Weston, some of those signature homes. You're getting a little bit better bang for your buck out there.
You're getting a little bit better bang for your buck. I mean, the yard space, the community feel. I mean, that's what's nice about Magnolia overall, Jackson, is like even Kresston, Colton, all these areas, they're offering a much more bang for your buck than going into, say, now you're Ellison, who's gotten a big name for itself, Cane Island, which is closed out. I mean, the only one I can think of is like Grange, but however, you're getting a totally different area, and I think this is really nice to get in ground level right now. I've seen it before, and a lot of people don't have the vision, but they move in, and then 2 years later, they're like, man, I wish we would have got in sooner.
Right. Because now you're talking amenities, schools, all of that stuff that comes in, and there's a lot of projected
and new construction is still
a
major driving force.
Right.
Even in Autobahn right now, if I pulled it up. The majority of the homes are going to be new construction or any of these areas right now. So let's go into...
Yeah, maybe give us a little market update on that. While he's pulling that up, guys, a reminder. First of all, if you're loving these map videos, we want to know. So the only way we know is if you hit the like button. If we get enough likes on this video, we'll continue to do these. And if you would, comment down below, what is any question, what is any community that you would love us to do a mapping your move on? And we can do that, right? So make sure that you guys are always commenting your questions. We go through those, and you guys like that video. Second of all, every single Saturday morning at 8 a.m., we have over 70% of our viewers coming from the television. So that means that 70% of the people are just putting it in their calendar. They wake up at 8 a.m. Central, whatever time that is you're at, and they watch us on TV. You should do the same. And these Wednesday nights at 5 p.m. Central, do the same thing. Turn on the TV, give us a watch, right?
And give us a call, text, or email, Jackson, because we will help them when it comes to moving.
That's what we love the most.
That's what we love the most.
Days, nights, weekends, anytime. Give us a call. We help you move, relocate, find the best deals. We know all these areas. We do private one-on-one Zoom consultations. It's what we do.
Yeah, don't spend an area, your whole day in just one little neighborhood. It's kind of like taking a Jeep and being stuck in the mud. You ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going nowhere. Trust me, homies. I drove around for 2 days, and it almost makes you not even want to move here, but we eliminate that. You got it pulled up?
Yeah, I got it pulled up. And another thing just to add, consultations is what we do, before we get out into the field, because we really want to listen to what people want when they move here. And so one of the most important things, they're like, hey, I love the tall trees, I love the greenery. And say, for example, they're in Willis. Well, there's other options, and like a lot of times we're like, based off of what you're telling me, it sounds like Kresston's going to be a great area for you, and I think it's worth checking out. And a lot of times it changes the perspective on what they're doing.
Yep. And we just got to hear what you like, what you don't like.
So here we go. Autobahn, just one of the many of the three popular ones out there. This one has more roots than anything at the moment. And so what I was saying is you have a total of 107 homes on the market. And what I was explaining is new construction is still a major driving factor out here.
Yep.
And so people were like, well, everything's bottoming out, the real estate, the interest rates. Well, we're still going strong in a lot of areas. Yes, I mean, there may be some, little slowdowns in certain areas, but we're out in the neighborhoods even filming, Jackson, and you get to see firsthand sold signs still. Right. The incentives, the interest rates, and all those things take a factor, and they're dropping prices. So when people say the market's bottoming out, well, the dropped pricing of the homes is the bottom of the market. Right. So anyways, 107 homes in here. And just to show you that new construction is the driving factor in these neighborhoods right now, I'm going to put resale, and that only drops it down to, I would say, about 12 right there.
What does that tell you then?
That tells you that these neighborhoods are going strong. They're still building, and more people are wanting these new construction homes, and they're holding inventory on top of that. So that's a great opportunity for people. Doesn't mean you're going to get 50% off of the house,
right?
But they're giving you a pretty good darn deal where 3 to 5 years down the road, people are going to look back and wish they would have bought that day.
And sometimes we're actually hearing from like the reps there that you can, because they're wanting to clear some of the inventory off the sheets, off the whatever, that you can get into a house that's fully done, has some upgrades, and get in below a base price currently.
Correct. Yes, that's what they do. So if they have 10 homes that they're pushing, they push them as fast as possible. They go ahead and discount the ones that are fully ready to go. They may have another 10 that are in stage 1, 2, or whatever, meaning maybe only foundation, and 5 months down the road, they're not going to discount those as much as pushing the ones that are ready to go.
So what we're going to do is a follow-up video, probably next week's. I read some of the comments, and it had to do with almost on the lines of like a cost of living. And so we'll do it more of like, specific areas around Houston. And one of the questions was like, do you got to use their lender, or is it a local preferred lender? It was a lot of lender talk. So we'll break that down in another video, because it is super imperative if you not only want to buy that house, but you also want to reap the benefits of the lower interest rates from that builder. What kind of lender do you have to use? What do those programs look like? We'll do that in a following video, so don't miss that.
Yeah, and my personal opinion, if I was buying a house today, brand new construction, I wouldn't have a problem going with their lender, because I know they're more than likely going to have a lower rate.
Yep.
I know at some point in the future, if I don't get the lowest rate, if they go down, I'm going to refinance at the end of the day.
So that's a question then. If you get a lower rate or a good deal through a builder, do you get the ultimate deal by going to the builder yourself as just a normal person, or what does that look like?
It's not always the case. However, we've walked in many where we saw, like even in Centura, where they're offering, I think, a buy down all the way down to 2.99 for the first couple of years. A lot of them are doing 4.99. So those are great deals once people qualify for them. Right. So I mean, yes and no.
I guess what I'm asking is, like, instead of calling you, just going in directly.
Oh,
right. Come on, Joe.
Well, okay, so that plays into a big factor. The rates is always going to be there. I'm not going to sit there and say you have to go through us.
Yep.
However, you might have a specific house that we know about. Like, they play rates off of different homes.
Yep.
So we have our thumb on that. So yes, it helps tremendously to be able to reach out if it happens to be one of those ones. I'm not saying it happens every time. But the biggest benefit that we provide is just being a second set of just someone there to listen, to answer a question that the tiniest little thing could mess everything up, you know? And so just to have someone in your corner versus the builder rep who their boss is the builder.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, they're great, but they have a boss, and it's not the consumer.
Yep. And
we have our fiduciary to the consumer.
Gotta help.
And we're going to definitely be there, especially with the inspections, as far as recommending that, and good choices and what that looks like and how they use it as a checklist to take care of those items.
Yep. I think at one point I want to drive in is, with helping, the hundreds of clients, the number one review we get back is just how big of a help it was finding the area first and foremost. So what happens is a lot of times, and we run into people sometimes, and they're just trying to deal hunt, right? But then they kind of mess up, go to the wrong spot. And so that's when they're typically wanting to move, within a year or two. So the big positive reviews, if you're moving here from out of state, the hardest part, trust me, I did it, I moved to the wrong area, is trying to find that spot that fits you, that you're not kind of like every day going, man, I don't know if this is the spot. You got to feel it. So
we've had a lot of people locally who are like, man, I wish we would have reached out to you. I'm sorry we didn't call you. We saw the video, and we should have moved out. We just, they zone in on something that's important to them, and then realize they ended up in the wrong spot. They went with the wrong builder, or something happened within where they could have used those extra set of consultation.
For sure. Well, bring up
all the time.
Yeah. Let's go back to the data here, JoJo, and it looks like you kind of came. There we go. You're back up.
I'm back up.
Yeah, let's go a little bit more. What kind of prices? What can they get for prices?
Well, what's pretty interesting here, let's see, let me just go in to the new construction in Audubon. And what you'll see is the lowest price house that they have in the community is $276. Those are all pending. Let's go down to here, and then the highest one is $955. So you have something all the way from down to $276 to $955 and in between.
What? Okay. What? Give us an example, and maybe like a middle example too, in the fives.
So
or
let's
something.
go to the highest one, and that's going to be over here. That's Drees Home.
Hey, Dreezy.
Yes, we've helped a lot of people purchase Drees. This is 4,100 square feet. Beautiful home, modern stucco stone exterior facade. They do some changes for the clients, no charge at all. And let's go to say,
Is that the model home?
oh, Jackson, let's see here. No,
Oh,
that is not
it's
the
not?
model home. Nope.
No. Okay.
So let's go into, say, a middle tier. I would say somewhere about, say, 600,000. Let's get something, let's hear 659 for 3,100 square feet. And we don't have a picture. Who does not? We don't want, we need something with pictures, right?
Yeah. Huff and puff and blow your house down there.
So what that means is when they don't have a picture, they list them at the very beginning, and then there's an estimated completion date.
Okay.
So they just put them on the market so people can know, because we might take someone to another side of town. They saw the model home, and all of a sudden that one that right there that doesn't have a picture is the actual home they want.
Right. Okay. That's good to know.
So here's one for $574. You see they had it originally at $603, and that's a Perry home, very popular.
I knew it with
builder.
those peaks.
Yep.
3-car. That thing is sick.
We got our boy out there
Yep.
in the neighborhood. And so as you can see, this is super nice, super clean, has a modern feel, open plan on a single level home.
Yeah.
And then we'll go down to the very lowest one, Jackson, in the neighborhood, which is 1,566 square feet. And that's going to be a Smith Douglas home. And I don't know if they have pictures. Yeah, they do. They have pictures on it.
Yep. The big long galley style. Yep.
Yeah,
We've
so
been in a
it's-
few of those.
So it's an entry level,
Yep.
move-in home, put you in a master plan community, the sidewalks, the parks, the pool, and so forth. And
Yeah.
then typically people end up moving up, or a lot of people move down and they really don't need a lot of space because they travel a lot and they have their RV down the street.
Does Colton or Kresston show anything? Maybe Kresston has probably a little bit more.
Well, Colton still has some stuff on there.
Yep.
So I can go into that as well. You're going to have 19. It's not a lot. However, the lowest one right now in there is 437. So it gives you some context of the area, and I don't know why I disappeared.
Don't you worry about it.
437 right now at 2,500 square feet. Now, you know that there are some other smaller entry-level homes in there.
Yep.
As we drove by. We didn't showcase them, but those are things that we let people know. And then
Right.
if that doesn't even work for them, there's smaller little communities that aren't master planned
Mm-hmm.
that will be probably in the 250 to, say, 325 range if someone's looking for that. But
Yep.
we don't have too many people reach out for that. However, when they do need it, we have it for them.
Right.
And as you can see, they have some pendings already off the ground, and they have 699 as the highest mark. Obviously, they're going into the millions. However, when you're building over $1 million, like
Frederick Harris or
Frederick Harris or Partners in Building,
Right.
they're not going to typically build a lot of inventory homes. Those are built
Yep.
to the consumer. They're built to the way people want to live and what they want in a home.
Right. And then we talked. We went through that beautiful Drees home. You guys saw that. They're not building. They won't get their lots for another month or so. They said, which they said it's perfect because the time frame for a Drees home typically, because there is a lot of customization that goes throughout, and we've helped quite
Yeah.
a few clients do it. Is it's about 60 days from the time you pick out your lot, which is a perfect time now to choose the ideal lot, going through the design process and all of that, and then going into contract is about 60 days. So from that point, they'll have their lots available, and you can actually start building. So, and the first 5 people, I think we had somebody reach out already, but they're going to get that $50,000 incentive to upgrades.
Ooh, that's
as
a
well.
big one.
Double sliders, you name it, it's all coming,
Yep,
and they
the
pay
double
and flow
slider.
it. which is pretty cool. And the other thing
I like the lot selections. To me, that's exciting.
Yeah.
You know, I bought one of my first brand new houses, let's see, back in 2007, Jackson. And one of the most exciting things was for me and my wife is that we got to pick the lot. Like we were going walking lots. We were going, seeing how deep they were, how we could picture our house. And I think just having the excitement of knowing that you have choices is really just an exciting experience.
That's kind of like an understated aspect of home. A lot of people, there's already homes available and ready, but a lot of our clients have, built from the ground up. So going through that lot selection, what's that like?
Not only that, it's not just the lot. Here's the caveat to it. You saw the different elevations that you can get. So the quicker you get into here, you get to pick the home you want, and then you get to pick the elevation, because once they build a bunch of them, they're going to tell you, oh, I'm sorry, we can only do elevation A. You can't do C, even though you want C. You're like, well, let me do B. You can't do B because that's already replicated. And then and say you want a 2-story home, and they're like, that one's already 3 houses down. So now you don't get the choices that you want at the end of the day.
That's a good point. Getting in early you actually get that
you get what
boss
you want.
front that you want. Okay. A lot of secrets. Did you guys all know that? Man, I didn't. Okay, let's transition before we finish this out. And let's do a little bit. Can you pull up like acreage maybe on the MLS and just
absolutely
give them a little bit of a rundown on some of the acreage? So yeah, you guys can see out there, with the Coltons, and we did our video on Colton and seeing, the Weston homes that just 45 foot, which is a kind of a starter lot size, and in the mid 4s you're getting just those 20-foot towering ceilings, and it's pretty impressive what they're doing with these houses now. And the more and more we talk to these reps, here's the other thing: we show up and we film on Mondays, and we're typically getting a inventory sheet that's warm to the touch, like they just print them. So a lot of times, and even if you're looking online, you're going to see these homes and the prices. Well, as you see, we're getting the ones with all the red slashes through them, 20K, 30K, 60K off, and we get to see those. So when you reach out to, we did that Zoom call, and we had so many people on there, and they had their floor plan and house. They're like, I'm down to this house, this floor plan, or that. Now we can actually take that and go, okay, we have like 10 communities that have that, and here's, the prices of it. So another.
That's the only time I like a red slash, Jackson.
I know.
I didn't like it during school though.
No, too many red slashes. That was the one-legged A.
All right, so we're in High Meadow, and I'm saying High Meadow because there's the estates and then west. Okay. And so the new side is going to be over here on the west. And so they do have some houses. Let me see what the dates are here. So they said the completion date's 6/15.
Oh, that's
and look
up.
who this is, Grace Point Homes. We just did the Grace Point Homes in the Cedars, so you can see the difference. This is 1.3 million. We saw Grace Point Homes under 700,000 on acreage.
On acreage at the Cedars.
That gives you some context.
Yep.
High Meadows is going to be closer to the HEB, all the center, Kresston, a lot of that area.
Blue Jack.
And you're going to go another 15 minutes up in Plantersville to get to the Cedars. So, you can kind of see that comparison.
Save you a good amount of money. But High Meadows, again, it's amazing when you get in there. It's just, that's a nice house.
And then if you just see the greenery out here, look at all within all the trees. It's just private. People buy their lots, they clear out the space they want, and they leave all the trees, so that way that you just don't see your neighbors.
Look at that one on the right there. That is...
Yeah, that's a baller right there.
That's a spectacle.
Huh? Yeah, it's nice, very nice.
Tucky in the trees. There's actually soft rolling hills in there. It's really pretty.
And so you can see the pricing out in these sections. They have right now on the MLS, they have 3 of them pending, 1.7. Someone's going to say, hey, that's my house.
Yep. Man.
But you can see that, it's custom. Those are solid wood built on-site cabinets.
Yes.
That's the difference you get out there, not just the land, the quality of build. And we know so many of the builders out there now, Jackson. It's just, they're all great.
That one's going to be cool to see when it's done. And that's kind of the crazy thing is how much is pending and sold out there. That the lots, JoJo, man, there was like no lots available. People were scooping those things up like hamburgers,
and you
baby.
can still buy lots. What I love about High Meadow, the Cedars, they're all owned by the same developer, and you can hold on these lots. So you can purchase it, and you don't have to build for another year or 2 years. No one's forcing you a time limit on that. So that's great. It's a hedge against inflation on land as well. So that locks you in.
I would love to see what the prices were going just like a year or two ago versus?
I don't think you really want to know. I think sometimes just stay right here where it's at and not have regret, because you know what? When you make a purchase, it's about what's happening today. You know, we can't do anything about yesterday.
Yeah.
We can only
No,
look at tomorrow.
I get it. It's one of those things. They can't make more land, but the reason I say that is because with the news and the national headlines, you go out to these communities, guys,
Well, I'll tell you,
people are buying those lots left and right.
Okay, I'll pull some lots up.
Yeah.
Okay. However, I'm already in the Cedars, which we did in Plantersville, and you can see the price point out here from the lowest one they have on the market is $677 up to $929. Again, you saw Our Vision Homes, gorgeous builder. They did that nice French
Beautiful
style Texas home, and that's going to be over $1 million. However, this is what they have, and it's available. And look at this right here, 1 acre, acre and a half, acre and a half. So, I mean, this is great. All the way up to 3,700 square feet for $899. I mean,
yeah, that's
Grace Point
impressive.
Homes.
Yep,
they bring it home.
They bring it home, baby.
With the grace on the price.
What a great, I mean, yeah, acre and a half, and man, super private in there.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's what you get. So these are different options. You know, people are like, well, I really need to keep it in this price point. And that's where, like, okay, take a look at this versus here and see what you think.
Yeah, maybe give me a little lot action around this area.
And then I'll go back to High Meadow. High Meadows. Oh, but we need to get into the land portion of it. Okay.
It's cool to be able to show people on YouTube the back end, the
back
dirty
end
back
right
end,
there,
the real
the little
numbers.
typing in. Let me get some glass action
Spectacle.
here, my friends.
Action.
And so if you're going to see some of these results right here, I just want to keep it within focus. Pop a little bit more right there, Jackson. We're going to get some results going on. As you can see, we got an acre and a half at $235,000, all the way up to $1.4 million for a massive amount of land there.
Okay, so that's probably like a one-off, an old farm, ranch, or something like that. That's 10 acres, isn't it? Give or take? Yeah.
Yeah. However, let's just put it right in the middle right here, 309, and we have mentioned it's just the way the elevation and the site prep and all that stuff goes.
Okay.
But here's one for 309.
Okay.
Okay. So in the future, you know, building costs could go up, but land cost is going to go up. The more they build these houses, they're putting a minimum, you know, building standards on these. So these are going to be more in your luxury line. So as the more people are in there building and they're selling, the natural tendency for the land price is going to go up. So it is a perfect time to get in and hold it.
And there's two options out in these type of communities. Buying the lot and building the home custom like you kind of showed there. And then there's also a few select builders in these acreage communities that kind of combined it together. And that can be confusing for people who look at a number, but they don't actually factor in the $250,000 to $350,000 lot price as well.
And so the tax rate out there, Jackson, is 1.57. That's before a homestead exemption.
Yeah.
Guys, we can get into what the veteran exemptions look like, the disability for veterans, all this stuff, but you have to reach out so we can have a more in-depth conversation about
1.5 though, man, that is juicy.
And if you buy 2 lots out there, remember you don't have to pay double HOA for the community.
Yep.
Put the brakes on someone saying, what HOA on land? It's very minimal HOA. However, you don't want to have a $2 million house and then right next door to it, they cleared land and
Cousin Eddie.
I mean, you got 3 trailers on there with jacked up cars.
My shitter's full.
You know what I'm saying?
So, I know what I'm saying. That's how I talk, JoJo. It's a good point. And yeah, and you said HOAs, and we get a lot of comments. Oh my God, HOA this. I think different states have different styles of HOA.
And I think people have been traumatized by their HOAs in other states. I've heard some horror stories, you know, and I haven't seen that. I mean, obviously there's some pockets out here, but it's more to keep the aesthetics of the neighborhood.
Yep. Yeah, I think, and you get into these higher end acreage communities. I mean, it's going to be, everything's going to be kept up.
This isn't someone driving around. No. Oh man, they got a piece of paper in their yard.
Man, Joe, I get more letters because I got a soccer goal out front. I leave like
it's
a bike ramp.
It's not even about that.
I leave a bike ramp out there, man.
We've seen kids out there with their 4-wheelers.
I know.
You know, their soccer goals in the front yard. I mean, it's just,
they don't.
You live the lifestyle out there.
You know what they wanted? They wanted a handwritten note explaining why I had a soccer goal out there.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, you need to write him back a note. I'm like, trace my finger and send that back to him. No, we're not doing that. But yes, the HOA talk of these acreage is more just aesthetic.
So
and
with
stuff.
that being said, guys, just reach out.
Yep.
We are here as a resource. There are a lot of moving parts in this. We don't know every single intricacy, but we're plugged in with the land developers, with the builders. They love working with us. As a matter of fact, we just had one of the land developers reach out to us from these communities, and they know that a lot of people are going out there. So guys, just give our name. They know who we are, and we're going to make it all happen together.
Yep. So if you guys ever want to, there's our, not if you ever want to, if you need us, right here is our name or numbers, emails, everything about us. You guys use it. Reach out to us. At least you'll figure out if, how much we can help or not, but we would love to help you with any questions, go through this stuff in detail. This is what we do and we love it. So make sure you're reaching out. But also, JoJo, they got to watch this right here. This is actually a playlist of all houses, subdivisions, acreage communities in Magnolia, Texas. So check that out if you want Magnolia on the list there. And we'll see you on the next one.